welcome back to another Tactic Test episode. This one is going to be on Philippe Clement's Rangers, and is going to be focusing on the Scottish side as we take a look at the new manager who has transitioned from Belgium through various teams to Monaco after being sacked to now taking over for Michael Beale at Rangers, who was sacked earlier on this season. So it's been a little difficult to find all the information and stuff on this, as he's only played a couple games, so it's hard to watch the first games because the system isn't fully integrated. And I've not had the largest sample size, but I've talked to some Rangers fans who've given me some great help. Thank you so much to all those guys. I really do appreciate it. They've been great in some of the information and some stuff that they've given me. It's just fantastic. So I can't thank them enough. I have to give credit to them, as this has been helped with some other people who are fans of the club, who watch them and are really into it. But yeah, it's something we put together. I'm excited to show you guys, and it does look like this. This is the Rangers tactic. It is based off some things that we'll talk about later, but there's a lot of stuff here. There's some other things, roles that slightly could be adjusted or changed based off who's playing, but primarily this seems to be the way the team plays, the style they go about things in, and how the team looks to shift around and do stuff as they continue to play throughout the season. So we'll chat about it, go through tactics, look at some clips that we found. They're going to be not as high sample size wise, because obviously not too many games to look at, but we'll do the best we can to analyze stuff, chat where we can. We'll go through the save itself, see how it worked, test it. I'll show you guys another tactic I made based off Clement's Monaco side as well, if you guys are interested, just because I did some looking at that and tried to use his elements that he did there, as well as some information that I've seen, the small samples that I have in Rangers, to kind of mesh this tactic together. So that's mainly what it is. So if you guys are interested in that, we'll talk about that. I'll show you that one too. And yeah, that will be our little tactic video as we return to normalcy of the normal schedule, normal videos rolling out, and things all good there. So let's roll the intro, get into talking the tactical analysis of the team, the trends and all these things like that, and then we'll move into clips and get things going. All right, everyone, it's time to talk the tactics of the team. Again, small sample size, so I'm going to try to keep this brief, not talk about it as much, just because as much as I'd love to give you a much better in-depth analysis, it's a small sample size. We don't know how truly Clement has fully implemented his ideas. He's only been there for what I think about 15 games or so. I think that's how many I counted. I did my best to try to figure this out. I think it's about 15 to 20 games, so it's not perfect. I've watched stuff. I've tried to do my best to figure things out. It's just a little difficult at times to watch full matches back, as in the US here, we don't have them all saved. So I only have access to certain games, and it's hard to find them online. So I've only really been able to watch highlights and clips. So again, not as good as some of the others where I have access to full games, but done my best. I've, again, chatted with Rangers fans, and this, I feel, is what best represents this side. So few key things I do want to talk about, which is the inverting of James Tavernier, the movement of the Secondo Volante, the interchanging between the 10 and the 11, as well as the overlapping runs by both fullbacks in those positions, as well as the low-driven crosses to the back post from the left-hand side, as well as the direct play from the 6 over the top into areas for the 9, as well as other players to run into. So those are some of the things I want to talk about and address, because those are key things that I picked up on watching, and I really think they're important to discuss and chat about. So first thing is first, how does the team get the ball from the back to the front? Pretty important when it comes to teams play. So it was a little hard to watch possession, as highlights really only showed me kind of more streamlined things. But some of the key things that we'll first discuss are the way the team builds out. So it tends to look a little more like this. When the team does build out. So you got your cluster up top, you got your 2 lines of stuff here, and this is pretty much what it is. So usually Butland will start with the ball and he'll give it off to one of the 2 center backs. Now, this will lead to a few of different things happening. One, he'll get off to one of the, well, first is, if he wants to go long, he'll hit it long into the 9, and then one of these 3 will be knocked down. He'll hit it to him, he can knock it down for one of them, the others will then run in behind. Knocks it down for this guy, usually he'll also stay deep, he'll run in. If he knocks down to the middle, they'll both run in, and the same thing there. So usually that's what the goal is, try to knock down the middle guy. These guys run behind for flick-ons, knock down, played in behind them, or he flicks it on as these two go in behind. Yada yada. Basic, we've discussed this, not very uncommon. Now, the other things that happen are if he does go short, usually one of the two center backs. Thus, a few things happen. One, if the team is pressing really high, he might bypass center backs altogether and go wide. Or he'll go short and then they'll go wide here to pull a player on, meaning there's more space. One of those two will usually happen if the team is high pressing. Now, if the team is sitting off more in a mid-block and covering these areas here, they will play to one of the center backs, and this center back will then carry the ball forwards with these players pushing further up the pitch, meaning they're dragging their markers with them. These guys will start to move wider as well. They'll drag their markers with them, meaning they're deeper, meaning the center backs they're able to carry the ball and transition it much further forward. They'll, in essence, carry it to these areas here, where there's a lot more support, and they're in a much higher position already now, able to make passes through the lines to any of these guys here, or long ball there. And they'll do this, which is really useful, because now, instead of them playing the ball here deeper, and then forcing this guy to deal with the ball under pressure, they've now carried the ball forward and pinned the defense even further back, which is really useful. And you'll see this in some of the clips in the way they carry it out. And stuff like that, but it'll be really helpful for them to do this because then they can play wide for going back inside and stuff, or they can go in and go inside again and then go out again. But it just gives them a lot more ability to do stuff, and you'll see this happen a lot more with them. Usually the center backs get the ball first, and they'll carry the ball forwards if they're able to. If not, they'll play it forwards as well. But usually they look to bring the ball forward before really doing anything, making the defense come onto them, press them, where they then can break the press with passing over trying to shift the defense around. They're waiting for them to come onto them, which is something I noticed happened in a few of the games. Now, again, I mainly watched a lot of games that they should be winning, so this could be a thing they really only ever do against lower blocks and mid blocks, but it's something that I did see some of the variety of when the teams did press high, they went really a little more direct. But just something to look at and talk about there, which I think was really important and really key. It's not as common, though, as others, so I didn't have dribble more on the center backs, but I would encourage it if you want to get that effect. I think it's definitely possible to do, and with that, you probably could do a little better. So, the next thing to talk about is the deep line playmaker. This guy does a lot. He will move side to side. He will find spaces to play, because what looks usually to happen is these guys will go forwards like this. You'll have it a lot more higher. You'll have it kind of almost looking like a 2-3-5 or a 2-3-4-1 or a 4-1-4-1 at times with this team. The deep line playmaker kind of gets left in this role, shifting left and right, and he will be very direct. He'll look to play direct passes, or he'll look to break lines into any of these four players here, which is pretty key. He also will even look to play balls in behind into these spaces here where this guy the 9 can run onto it. This can be seen in one of their latest games where I think the 6 is like right here. He picked up the ball right here. The 9 makes a diagonal run to the left half space, pins it over the top, gets it to him. He rounds the keeper and scores. So they're happy to go direct. They're happy to play in behind these diagonal balls that are played. Usually it's not a straight ball too. It's always going to be a diagonal ball. So if he's here, usually looking to the left channel. He's here looking to the right. On this side, he's going to look for the right channel. So those are pretty common of what happens. They're usually going to look for those passes and those ways they play because they're pretty important to it. It's also easier to play a diagonal ball. Now, the other thing that happens too is the wingbacks will help to carry the ball forwards and get into crossing positions because they cross a lot. These two guys, they cross more than anybody else on this team. I think it was Barisic, Yilmaz, and Tavernier have combined like 400 plus crosses this season already. That's ludicrous. So they like to cross from tons of areas along here. They will cross at any opportunity possible. And it's pretty big for them. They will do a lot of it. But one of the things that happens is, before they get there, is the transitioning the ball forwards. Usually, they will go wide at some point before coming back inside. But if they can't go wide, they'll play into one of these guys, who will then look to get it wide to the 7 or the 11 before they make their movement forwards. The key thing usually is that this guy will tuck in, this guy tends to overlap, this guy stays wider, and Tavernier tends to come inside more. So Tavernier will almost end up being in these positions more than not. You'll see Tavernier in the box right here, but he'll be kind of more tucked in attacking, while the wing back over here will be overlapping, while the inside forward will be tucked in more. And you kind of have this shape here almost at times, where the 10's kind of in the middle here, the striker's just in front, the volante's here, and you almost have this kind of 2-1-1, 6-1 shape, almost lots of bodies forwards. You'll sometimes have a 2-2, 2-2-5-1 as well, but you just get lots and lots of bodies forwards, which is really cool, and you get it. You get to see a lot of the aggressiveness and the attacking from it as well. But once that happens, they get into these final third areas here, which is mainly what I want to talk about, because that's what really was able to be seen a lot more from some of the ways that I saw them playing. This is which I'm able to illustrate for you guys in a much better way here. This was a lot easier to be done. So usually they kind of look a little more like this in these areas. The wingback helping out a little more on the wider spots, and these guys kind of in these roles here. So what happens from this is we've seen it in the goal, which is a great example of how they get the crosses happening, is they play the ball wide here to a player the inside forward who's come out wide. He will drive inside here where the wingback offers something here, and the 10 drifts out wide. So you'll see this motion here. We'll get some arrows going. Let's do white. So you'll see him come inside here. Actually, no, let's do dotted so you know it's movement. So you'll see him come this way, him go this way, right? Now this shifts the defense. So we'll just get 2 examples of players here. So there's someone covering to mark him. There's some guys here like this, because the example where we have the video example, there's 3 guys. So they're all defending over here, like so. And they have their other defender out here. So he gets drawn to him, meaning that when he turns him and comes inside, now this guy gets drawn, meaning he's able to drift into this space here, allowing for a ball in behind where he's now in open space, and he can now drill a pass into this area where the striker runs onto and then taps the ball in the back of the net. And that's something you'll see from this team on the left side. There's a nice interchange of play with the ability to do that. Now on this side, what you'll see is the winger will get the ball here and look to drive forwards to the line and get crosses in from that. You'll also sometimes see if this guy's pushed out wide, he will do the similar thing of driving, of trying to get in behind by getting the ball, driving with the ball to the line and getting cutbacks in as well. So both these guys are authorized to go give cutbacks, drive to the line and do that. You'll also see if they're working the ball around the edge of the box here, trying to find an opportunity, and they can't because the block of the opposition is pretty low, they're struggling to get something off. These two have license to shoot from distance, and they will unload on the goal. Raskin, Cifuentes, oh my God, Cantwell, they will hit it. They are not afraid to shoot from these areas here, and they are good at it too. They will let rip, and they will score some nice goals. You see it, the goal, I scored those goals. I didn't show them because they're kind of basic, but there's several goals that we scored in this tactic from shots from distance, letting it go from distance and hitting the target, and even scoring a lot of goals. So that's another really key thing that you see happen from these guys. And it really mirrors up quite well. There's a lot of stuff in that sense that does do that, which is great. Now, the other thing that happens, too, is these guys will get in these positions as well. He'll tuck in more. He'll kind of provide these areas here, and they'll get it wide in this spot. And you'll see back post runs being made from the player, so the winger will make a back post run here. He'll run here. He'll run in here. He'll kind of offer something here. He'll stay kind of towards the edge a bit. And this ball will get whipped in. It'll get whipped into this area here where these guys are doing it. Same thing on this side too. He'll get the ball, drive into these areas, kind of from some deeper crosses around these areas here. I'd say kind of once you get to this bit of the box, probably around this bit and forwards, you'll see that ball get wide, players drive in, and they'll whip in crosses as well. That's pretty common too for this team. So that's kind of the main ways that we see them attacking and trying to score goals with those scenarios. Now, the other thing that we want to discuss is the way the team looks to counterpress, which is pretty much a principle of we will not be incredibly aggressive, but we will look to, when the opportunity arises, force the ball backwards for a long ball forward. So, say we have this defense here. Again, I know the numbers are jumbled up. I just did it quickly. We'll just swap these two so you don't get as annoyed with me for that. I don't know what formation I'm having this team play. 5-3-2. Whatever, we'll do that. All right, so they're playing this. So one of the things they'll do is if they say we lose the ball in this area, right? Guy starts his dribble, he picks it off, he gives it to this guy. this team will counter press so you'll have the players be very aggressive. They'll press, well, the two pressing shapes usually 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1 tend to be the two shapes of the pressing you'll see. He'll then he's been tackled, so now this guy's going to press, these guys are going to be aggressive here. They're going to try to press and force this ball backwards. But if they can't force it backwards, they'll sit off a little more and let them play it around like so. They'll kind of just sit off here, cover people, encourage them to play these wide passes, and then once the opportunity arises here, he'll kind of hover around waiting for it. If he tries to play this, boom, steals it and goes. Or the other thing they'll do is create lots of bodies in the way where they cut passes off and force it backwards, where then a long ball is played, which is really easy for these guys to get. And they'll keep pressing. So even if you say play back to the keeper, you'll see the 9 or the 10 chase down the keeper and force that long ball, put the pressure on them. They don't let them have that opportunity, because the backwards pass, a backwards and sideways pass, are clearly really heavy triggers for this team. They will sit off a little bit, waiting for you to pass around your defense, and then that long ball, the ball out to the wing, or that backwards pass is that trigger for the aggressive press. And you will see it time and time again. The winger or the wingback will go, or one of these guys will help press out wide too. But those are the two key pressing triggers pretty commonly seen, is the ball out wide to the wing or the backwards pass, which will lead to the heavy press and the ball forced wide. And you'll see that a lot. Now, the team also will sit deeper, and that usually is a 4-4-2 shape or a 4-1-4-1 you'll see as well, where they're sitting deeper, trying to disrupt to play, force the team wide and encourage a cross, or stuff them in the middle and then counter attack from that. So yeah, a little bit of explaining, not too as in depth as others, but it's just trying to keep it brief and talk about some of the key things I saw and mentioned and yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing too out of the ordinary, nothing too absurd, but yeah, some neat stuff, some cool things. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I know I really I liked this one. It was a fun tactic to do and take a look at. But it's time to get in the clips, talking about things. We're going to go goals, we're going to go build out, we're going to go pressing, we're going to chat about those, look at the clips, and go through all of them and discuss how insane this team is and how some of the cool things about them. They're really strong defense, they're really good scoring, and we'll see some clips that mirror some of the things we talked about here as well before getting into it and seeing how the team did. So yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. I know it was a good one, and we'll move on to those clips. So here we see an example of how the team is building out. As you can see, you have the shape, the 2, the 4, and then these 3 you want more clumped together, but again, you can't really do that in FM, which annoys me, but we want these 3 clumped together. You'll see in the clip later on how clumped together these 3 are. They're usually in the width of like the circle. He's here, and then the next 3 guys are here. But this is the important thing. The 2 here, the 3 with Butland, and then you have the 4 in front of it, which are really crucial because it gives you those 3 lines to play into. And then usually you'd have him a little ahead, and the 3 guys underneath for the long ball, which can be played into the striker who knocks it down to 1, and the other 2 that run in behind for the flick on. Very classic 4-2-3-1 setup. It's really common. We've talked about this before. We've shown you examples of it before. But it's the same thing that we're seeing here, and it's key to having it. But one thing that doesn't happen, unlike some of the we talked about, is he plays it wide. Most of the time it's to the center back, but occasionally it is out wide. This time it is out wide. The team now takes it forwards, and they try to play it back into the center, which is really key for this team. They get it wide usually first, or they try to bring it through the middle first, and then further up through the middle through dribbling in the center backs, or they get it wide and then back into the middle. The team is really keen on getting it wide, getting it back in, getting it wide again, getting it back in, or going through the middle before going wide and then back in again. It's really key they shift the ball where it is in the scenarios because it helps unsettle the defense and create spaces and gaps in the defense. So you see Raskin carrying it forward. He's able to do that. Finds Cantwell, who's in a great spot here. He's able to find Daniele, who's trying to get in behind. Unfortunately, his passes in there, but it's a good idea, and you can see what they're trying to think in terms of the transitioning through the lines really quickly to get to those openings, going from out, back to in, and then towards the goal. All right, guys, so time to look at the build out in real life scenario. So again, we're looking for that 2-4-3-1 shape, which we want to see. We want to see the clumping together of the strikers and the other players there. We want to see the 2 by the goalkeeper and then that flat 4 in front of it. So you'll see that it'll stop. You can see the shape here, which I'm talking about, the 4 defenders here, the 2 central midfielders creating the 4 across and the 2 there. But you can see these passing lanes that are achieved from it, right? He can go here, he can go here, he can go here. If he has it, same thing, all those options there. So we see this here in terms of the shape. They're looking to go forwards, Mirren's playing off. This is, again, also one thing I mentioned too. Mirren are sitting off, so they gave it to the center backs to carry it forwards. If the team's pressing high, they look to go sometimes wide and things. But Goldson looks to go direct, go into the Danilo. But again, the thing I also mentioned, the striker and his 3 players underneath. These are the 10, the 2 wingers. These guys are here looking to create kind of this knockdown area where he can knock it down into one of these guys, and the other guys then can run in behind for a flick on too. So it's that same structure they're looking for. Unfortunately, the ball's hit too long and it goes to St. Mirren. But it's just something that we want to see and want to look at, which is the shape that we see. They have that correct shape. It matches what we had in the game, and just how you achieve that and how we're having to do it. And it's pretty much similar. It's the exact same thing. The ability to go to these guys for them to carry the ball forwards, or going out wide for first, where then they can bypass the players on the edge of the box, which is exactly what we want to see and what we've achieved in the game, and we can see how it mirrors to real life. Here I want to talk about the goal that is scored by Rangers. So I do want to zoom in a little bit here, just so we can see. But in this play, we're looking at this goal, which ends up being scored by Danilo. This is one of those things in terms of the interchange that I'm talking about. First, I just want to show you the shape. You can see we're giving some width from Yilmaz here. Tavernier, it needs to be moving up into, we want him kind of more out here in this position. But you can see Danilo is here. We have Cantwell out here, who's the 10. Dow, the winger there. We have Raskin here, and Matondo, who's tucked inside us from the winger there. Now, Matondo's going to move out wide to give width and get into those areas. We see Raskin and Matondo here. Normally you want Matondo a little further forward, Raskin a little further in, which is not great. But we've seen now the interchange between the players here. Again, we'll just see it. We go, Matondo gets it. This is the bit before, but Dowell has it here. He goes inside. Cantwell here, he goes outside. So Dowell comes in, Cantwell goes outside, who's the 10. Now he has the opportunity to cross. He does a cross goal low. Danilo gets it and fires home. You are going to see the exact same goal scored in real life from this. It's almost the exact same thing occurs, and we're going to show you that right now because it is perfectly identical in terms of that interchange between the 10 and the left-sided player that we are looking for. It is nigh perfect, and it's exactly what we want to see and what we were trying to achieve with this system and with this tactic. Here we're looking at the example of the goal that is scored. So one of the big things we want to talk about is the interchange between the 10 and the winger. So you can see how important this is here. The winger's out wide, he comes inside, the 10 goes out wide now. So he tucks in, he moves out, and we get the movement of the players getting caught. So you can see here, because he runs inside, he's able to beat the defender here, which means this guy is pulled to the ball. So he's pulled to the ball, leaving space in behind for this player to go out wide, which is why we have that guy being the inside forward. He cuts inside and pulls players towards him. Now this guy's going to go into the space because he's beat this guy, meaning the player's attracted. He's now attracted, the ball played wide, and now look, these guys are all occupied with the striker here, the other players here, and that winger is making a backside run. They don't notice it. Look, all looking at the ball and looking at the defender. He is in tons of space. He's able to play this ball, and they're able to score a goal. And you can see exactly what we're talking about. Nearly mirrors the goal that we scored in the game. In game, obviously, this is the scored by the opposite-sided winger, so this is scored by the 10. But the striker is here. But you can see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of the way we have it happen, and the structures and the shape, the interchange of players and everything like that. It's nigh identical to it, and it's just so perfect. Okay, guys, here we are going to be looking at an example of counter-pressing and the way this team looks to press. It's a very important part of their play, and it's really key to how they do things. Let's make sure this is the correct speed. I had it higher up. But so you can see here, the team's transitioning the ball forward through the center. They get it wide to Matondo and now lose the ball. And this is where the counter-pressing begins. It's a really key point, and it's really important that this team does this. And you see it from the next clip where we look at where the team does it in real life. But it's really important. What they try to do is they try to force it one way wide and then force it the other way wide. And they want to encourage you to play backwards, where they can then encourage a long ball, or force it wide where you're forced to play a tricky ball out wide, which leads to going out of bounds, or it can be picked off. And you'll see exactly this here. So the team regroups immediately, regroups to force the ball backwards. Now see, they've done the first step where they force it backwards. Again, they're encouraging pressure to force the ball back, which is exactly what we see. Now again, pressure to force it backwards, or a long ball, and they've tried to go out wide with a long ball, and it's been picked off by Tavernier. Again, exactly what we want to see, forcing it backwards, then encouraging the long ball forwards or the long ball out wide, which is now snagged very easily because it's a difficult passing lane, and Rangers have the ball back, and they can now possess and attack from this. It's a great example of it, shows it really well. We'll see the real life clip now, but it really fits and hits on a lot of those things we're looking to see from this team. So finally, we have the counter-pressing, well, which is easily over and they gather, and that's the whole thing. They lose it, the pressure. It's forcing it wide, forcing it to those areas where the long balls are forced, or forcing it backwards where another long ball's forced, where it's easier for them to get it. They want to force you backwards and then for you to go long. They don't want you to be able to play through their lines, because if they do, they're screwed because they're sending numbers at you. So it matches the example pretty well. Celtic obviously possessed it a little more than St. Mirren did here, but it's similar thing of getting it wide, getting that long ball forced, where then they can win the ball back. Okay, guys, so, yeah, I look a little different. I recorded some other stuff before having to go out to dinner, so I shaved and cleaned up a little bit, so I look nicer. But yeah, so we're in, whatever, we're at the next bits. Now, you've seen me do the clips, which I'll record after this, but we're just going to quickly talk through this, because it's been harder to get some of the tactical stuff. The shape has not been as clear, but some of the things that you can see clearly from the way the team plays is he does like to get players forwards. He does like to have his wingbacks get into advanced positions. He likes one side to be a little more advanced than the other. We do like to see, as we've talked about too, these two players, the left-sided player and the 10, interchange positions a lot, because the right-sided midfielder likes to get high up the pitch, meaning that this guy occupies this space, he occupies this space, while these two like to interchange. So you can see that here with the 20, 13 being similar spots, the striker also sitting in kind of these half spaces in between there. So you can definitely see some of that stuff there with that. If we delve a little further into things like the heat map, we can see what we're talking about here. It looks more like a 4-3-3 at times. This player, especially Tavernier, being a lot more advanced in these areas here. This guy should be a little higher up, but still there's a lot there that you can see, which is pretty clear and similar to the other stuff is done. But if you look at some of the average positions of the players, teams, Rangers, positions with the ball, we'll just do again halftime because it just makes it easier to look at. You guys can see that Dowell and Cantwell are much further over to that side. Danilo is kind of here, while you also have Rashkin kind of pushing up into this space here. So it's a lot more balanced in terms of what it is. You see that shape I'm talking about, where these two are in the ability to interchange a lot more. We see that in the clip for the goal, where the two do where there's interchange between these two players, allowing the cross to get in for real life and for that. So you see what I'm talking about. It's very much there, the interchangeability of those two, the wide spacing of him giving more room for the player in this role here, and the striker having the ability to then make a run from this area, or this player making the run from that area as well. So a lot of the stuff we talked about and we showed in the analytics, as showed with the clips and stuff like that, just shown here perfectly with the way the team sets up, which is exactly what we want to see. So that's great. That's good news. That's lovely. Beautiful. Other thing I do want to quickly touch on just before we go into things, again, keeping this a little quicker. Dowell picked up the most goals and assists, which is interesting. Cifuentes had a lot as well. He played that deeper 10 position, the deeper center mid that attacked a lot. And the other one was Barisic. For some reason, Tavernier was injured for a lot of the season, so he only had 11 games played and 2 substitute appearances, so he only got 4 goals and 2 assists, but still really good. But Barisic then picked up a lot of the assists from that left side, and Matondo did a lot from the right side as well, getting a lot of goals and opportunities from that right side. Goals and assists, Dowell, I believe, played all across there too, got a lot from either side. The 10 not as much, but the left wing doing a lot too. So the versatility of these players, a lot around the wings. Barisic played almost all our left back, where he got his last assists. So you can see a lot of that stuff. Sterling got 8 assists from right back as well. So you can just see that things worked in the way we were looking for. It's very similar to what some of the real life stats are. If I pull some of them up right now, I can see, where are we? We look at assists. Tavernier is first, but then you have Cantwell, Matondo, Lundstrom, all hitting those marks. So those deeper lying players, Cifuentes, the deeper lying players, Dowell, those, Barisic, which is the winger. The striker got in on them a bit too. Our striker didn't get as much, like Danilo got 4 and things like that, but you can definitely see those players getting in on it. Barisic, Cifuentes had 2 as well, but you can see the players definitely getting a part of it and getting into things. Even Sima, who I believe played out wide. But yeah, you can just definitely see that we're getting the similar areas in terms of that. And then also, if we look at the goals, Sima, Tavernier, we look at these, Danilo getting all the goals here. He's got 40 on the season. The center midfielders, these guys here, are Right and left back didn't really get in amongst the goals as much, but Tavernier, I believe, is also the penalty taker, which is going to boost his stats in real life. But some similar stuff there, which is really good to see that we match those things as well. Now, though, we're just going to get into the tactic. Again, I said I wanted to keep this a little quicker. I didn't feel that there was such a massive sample size, so I can give you the most in-depth detail. I don't want to talk too much about stats and other things, because again, we have stats dictated by the first manager, now this, so not everything as the same as you would hope, and again, smaller sample size changes things, so I'd rather just focus on some smaller comparisons that are more recency biased stuff, not recent, but more recently biased by how the team has played over longer term stuff going back to the beginning of the season, because it's just some slight concerns in terms of how well that will actually portray it. But we have a Superkeeper on support. This could also be on defend, I feel like. Support is just because at times I feel like Butlin's willing to go into some of the players out wide and stuff. He's willing to start some counterattacks more, but you will also see him be very cautious and even almost play as a goalkeeper at times, giving the ball off to the center backs heavily to do a lot of the work. But I did feel occasionally or so you could go, he would do that. So again, it's up to you. I would say kind of Superkeeper on support, Superkeeper on defender, goalkeeper. It's quite interchangeable between them. I felt support worked best in terms of what it mirrored, but Butlin's pretty much a goalkeeper as well. So it's up to you how you want to change it. But generally, I would go Superkeeper on support, no additional instructions. Right back, complete wing back on support. Now, if you look at the statistics, Tavernier has a lot of progressive passes. He's one of the highest progressive passes on the team. If we go and look, sorry, I need to scroll back down because I scrolled up. Where is this? Sorry, there's possession. No, that's carries. I want passes. Hold on, sorry. Sorry, everyone. This is... There we go. No, wait. Sorry, there we go. I had to leave my place because of where we were looking. Progressive passes on the team. The players with the most are Tavernier, Lundstrom, Cifuentes, Barisic. Are the three with the most, and then Sima as well. Those are the four with the most, meaning uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Those four play the most direct passes. These guys do some as well, but I don't feel like you need to do it on them, because generally they played shorter passes in possession, and their progressive passes were mainly shorter. But these guys played a lot of progressive passes to these forward players here, which is why we have them being more direct, as they play them a lot of them. So, because of that, we are encouraging them to have more direct passes to hit those marks. Now, also the other thing is that if you do look at the roles for these guys as well, they also cross the most, the two wing backs. So it suits why we have cross more often. As well as dribble more, they have a lot of progressive carries carrying the ball forward. Thus, they have all of those set. Now, for the complete wing back on support at right back, they have more direct passes, cross more often, dribble more, get further forward, stay wider, and roll from position. These three are automatic. These three you have to add because they have the white little cogs and red dots next to them. The left back is a wing back on support, more direct passes, cross more often, and stay wider. Again, the same exact things we're talking about. These guys provide a lot of width for the team. They give a lot of ability to stretch the play, get things wide, open things up for them, as well as offering those passing lanes into these areas here or down the line, which is where you get the progressive pass a lot. And they also cross a lot. The team crosses a ton. If you look at the crossers, Tavernier and Barisic, Yilmaz, all three of them miles ahead. So Sima's at 45 for crosses, right? Yilmaz is at 90, Barisic at 130, Tavernier at 208. So you guys can see lots and lots of crosses from these two positions. So they need to have more crosses on, and then stay wider, get further forward as well. So he does like to get forward, but we don't want him to get overlapping as much because you don't see him overlap. It's kind of rare, but there's occasional times he does overlap and he scored some goals. Both center backs are on ball-playing defender, no additional instructions. You could have dribble more if you wanted to. I would encourage that because you will see these guys dribbling the ball forward and bringing it out against lower blocks. But I felt it wasn't as common of an occurrence and more of a in-game switch that Clement would make of a, hey, this game, the defender's not going to step high to us, so we can have our center backs dribble the ball forwards before then making that progressive pass. Because He doesn't want his team to then make that pass already, meaning the defensive line will first engage the deep line, the center midfielders, meaning that now they have less options to go forward. Making sure that the center back brings it out means when they engage, there's more lines of people behind them, making it easier for them to pass through those defensive lines. So that's something you can do. I would encourage it against low blocks to put on the dribble more on both your center backs to have them carry the ball out further and break down those low blocks. But again, left and right center backs, ball playing defender on defend, no additional instructions. Now, deep lying playmaker on support. He has dribble more and more direct passes. As we talked about, the two center mids have lots of progressive carries and lots of progressive passes. So we want to encourage more direct passing and dribble more on both because we see this happening a lot with them. Now, for the deep lying playmaker, we want especially more direct passes because you can see Lundstrom, who plays this role sometimes, really likes to spray passes into some areas here and here for a lot of the long balls for players to get onto for goals, especially for some from, you can see in recent games, Danilo scored one, Yilmaz has scored one, with these direct balls over the top in behind the defensive line to a player who's running on to score a goal, be it around the keeper or finish right away. So you want that more direct pass to encourage that to happen. And also dribble more, as we said, lots of progressive carries for these guys. Now, Segundo Volante on attack, which is the other player here, same exact thing, really high in terms of progressive passes, really high amount of progressive dribbles. You want them also to play in this role here, because what we see a lot is that shape of the 2-3-4-1 or the 2-3-5 almost kind of shape. Right? 2-3-5 shape, where you have lots of guys together. But there's lots of guys that do get forwards. So we want to make sure that he gets into these areas here and does help out a lot in those positions. Excuse me for that little mistake. So we want to make sure he's in those positions and doing those things there, because that's going to be really important for the team and the balance of it. Now, your right attacking midfielder, also these guys are DMs, by the way. Your right attacking mid is a winger on attack with no additional instructions. I didn't need to add additional instructions. I had before, but I don't think you need to, because they do everything we need, which are all the instructions we want from them, and there's nothing additional you really need to add. So that's that role. The attacking midfielder, close and more, tackle harder. They also have on attack, this is your center mid. When the team looks to defend, they defend usually in a 4-4-2. That's one of the main ways they look to press in the 4-4-2 structure. So because of that, I've encouraged him to close down more and be more aggressive in the press to get further forward and help press in those ways. They also will sometimes press in a 4-1-4-1 at times as well, where this guy will be in charge of marking the 6. So because of that, I'm encouraging him to close down more and tackle harder, as this will pull him out to press usually the 6, which is in his area, or will press the center backs who are in possession as well, helping create that 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 shape, not 4-1-4-1, but the 4-4-1-1 shape as well, which are the two pressing shapes that Rangers tend to usually have. Finally, the left attacking mid is the inside forward role on attack. This has aim cross at center and sit narrower as their two instructions. We also have dribble more, cut inside with ball, take more risks, cross more often, and get further forward. This is because we want him sitting kind of in this area here, interchanging with the attacking midfielder, but we also want them to aim the ball to the center, because a lot of the times they put crosses into the central area where this player is driving inside to score, or the striker is making a run to get onto the end of it and put the ball home, which you saw in the clips we had before this. Finally, the advance forward on attack up front on tackle harder. This is to encourage the amount of pressing we have, as the team presses quite highly from the front, and we want them to be aggressive, closing down the goalkeeper, closing down that next marker as well, which is something the 10 will do too. They'll continue pressing if the ball goes back to the keeper, which is why both these guys, we want them on tackle harder. I don't want him to be pressing as much as we'll pull him out of position occasionally, but we want both of them to be very aggressive in the tackle and the press to meet those kind of aggressive front defending from the front standards that you see Clement institute. Now, the team has a positive attacking mentality. That is an important thing for us. We also have, in terms of instructions, we are fairly wide attacking width. We pass into space. We play out of defense. We have a slightly shorter passing directness, a slightly higher tempo, and nothing else. Now, you could add low crosses if you want. I think it does fit kind of the way that they do play at times, but I feel that there are the occasional time they go for a bit of a whipped cross or something a little more. So I would fairly suggest keep it mixed, but you could go low if you wanted to, as it is generally seen they do try cutbacks, but they also have some clips here and there, so I felt mixed was better, but it is something that is possible to do. Now, you could also add work ball into the box against some weaker teams, as the team will look to do it, but I generally feel they play more direct, and I wouldn't really encourage doing it on most. I don't feel they fit it, but there are some times where you do see them work it in a little more, but they like to take long shots and play the ball in a little early, so I feel that leaving this not selected is the best of all. And I don't encourage run at defense, as it's very positionally selective of who is encouraged to dribble, and I don't want you to encourage other people to as well. In transition, we take short kicks, distribute to anyone. It can be center backs, as they do like to give it to the center backs a lot, but you will see Butland go into one of these guys occasionally as well, so it's not worth doing so. He does distribute it quickly, but he will take his time, so I wouldn't encourage this because you don't want them to rush it all the time. I think it's usually good just to leave them take short kicks. The team does look to counter and look to counterpress, as those are two kind of key factors of the team as well. Finally, in the out of possession, they press more often. They don't always press right away. They tend to sit off a little bit, wait till the opportunity arises. Boom, go, press right away, be aggressive, and try to win the ball. So that's why we have it on more often. They prevent short goalkeeper distribution, usually stepping high to press. They do like to get stuck in. They are quite aggressive in their tackling. You saw that from their pressing clip. They have a higher line and a higher press line of engagement. That is it in terms of the tactic. I hope you guys did like it and you guys are interested to try it out. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it matches up really well in terms of the way the team plays and the way the style is, and it's it's another really good one. So I'm pretty happy with it. I've not too many complaints. The defensive solidity is there. Only 18 goals over the whole season is massive. It's really nice to see, and over 100 goals. So it fits really Clement's style. Really good defensively, really aggressive in the up front, and I can't really complain. I think it's hit a lot of the stuff that we were looking for with this, and it's come out really, really good, and I'm really proud of that one. So I hope you guys did like it. It's time to roll the outro now. We'll talk about what comes next as our next tactic. It's coming out, as well as a possible hint at the 1 subscriber special tactic that will be coming out just for that. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy the video we had. Now, obviously, it's a little annoying when one of the best players is injured, and for some reason, it kept happening to the point where I just kind of stuck with it and dealt with that issue occurring. I made sure Tavernier was supposed to be playing, but again, if he just kept getting injured in these saves again and again and again, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So, it's annoying, it's aggravating, but it's what happens. Now, I'll have both tactics linked in the description below, the Monaco one as well as the Rangers one. The Monaco one is far from tested or any good. That is me just building something that seems to have some ideas and understanding similar to his style of play. I have no idea if it really represents it or works. It's a small version of it, which was then I built off that to have some of ideas, and then I adjusted it for Rangers. So it's something if you're interested in, you can take a look at that, do some stuff if you want to take a look and figure it out. But a tactic that was made for the Monaco team, and just, feel free to take a look and figure your thoughts out on that. But something that's there too, so you get both tactics, two for the price of one today. Always a nice little surprise. But once again, I do appreciate you guys watching. If you did like this one, remember to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well, because we have new tactic videos coming out every Tuesday and Sunday. We have our Tuesday video rolling out on Bournemouth manager Iriola, who I'm a big fan of. Loved him in Spain and really loving what he's been doing in England, so feel free to check that one out. Coming out on Tuesday. And then we have a special one coming out for the 1K subscriber special, if we do hit that, as well as some other ones coming out too. Possibly a Luton tactic. I know I've been a really big fan of them and been interested to do one of them, but also some others, and we shall see. We'll delve into the list, we'll delve into all the suggestions, and see who's reigning out on top in the next one, where you'll find it after Iriola or through a post that I come out with soon. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one.